All right, here with Steph the Hammerman. Welcome.
Hi.
It's great to have you, and I love seeing your hair messy because it shows that you
It's
have
nothing to
hair, which
feel
is a good
bad now.
sign.
I
But
literally wake up like this and I can't even control it right now. It's good. The chemo curls are a real thing.
that's remote. Good news, bad news, right?
This is
Bad news
true.
is your hair is a mess. Good news is you have hair.
This is true.
So, you were just talking about, and I made you stop because I knew we were going to talk about it. What was 1 year ago today?
1 year ago today, we were sitting in a doctor's office and they were trying to diagnose what was wrong with me. We had spent about, I don't know, 2 weeks in Florida trying to figure it out, and we couldn't figure what was going on with my body. They had an idea, but they didn't know. They thought I had mono, then they thought I had some weird like disease that you can get from cats, which is gross. And then they thought like I had some tuberculosis or something, but all of that was negative. And I remember sitting in the doctor's office, and he knew. He is also my stepsister's father-in-law, so he's family, but he pretty much knew at that point. We still had about 2 weeks of waiting to do, but he knew that I had lymphoma. It was pretty obvious to him.
Well, I mean, I guess it's positive that it wasn't some crazy cat disease. I don't know what.
I was kind of grossed out, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, first of all, I don't like cats. Second of all, that's disgusting.
I mean,
But
I can see you being one of those crazy cat ladies. I'm not gonna lie, Steph.
no, that's a dog lady. I'm more of a crazy dog lady.
And you say we. Obviously, you're referring to your better half, Ty.
Yes, he's sleeping right now.
Is he sleeping right now?
Yeah.
You posted a video coaching someone new yesterday. I actually thought it was Ty, but I don't think it was.
No, I've been coaching Austin Tepsic for probably a better of, I guess, 4 months now. And he's amazing. He's visually impaired and just absolutely awesome and puts his heart and soul into it. But it's been a really cool challenge for me because I'm actually really reliant on my verbal cueing. So it's been a really good match because his body awareness is fantastic, but he can't see me, right? So like I don't normally do demo movements. I'll normally either tell people what I want them to do and break it down enough so that they understand it, or I'll have somebody else demo while I talk. So it's been a really cool match for us because I just have to use my words.
That makes sense because I was watching him do these box jumps. I'm like, man, that guy is really setting up for a while. Now it makes sense that he can't see.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool. And that kind of brings about our whole story. I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years through a few ups and downs, through moving, through coaching, through everything, and obviously, your story. For those that don't know Steph, I'll let you explain it, but just tell everybody, where you've come from, how you found CrossFit, etc.
So May 3rd, 2012. So I can't believe I'm even saying that. That's 5 years ago already. I walked into CrossFit Hardcore, the garage in Boca Raton, and I met this, hardcore New Yorker, and he like literally just looked angry. And he's the nicest guy ever. His name is Scott. We called him Turbo. But I rolled in there and I was like, listen, I want to be one of your athletes. And he didn't really question anything. He was like, okay, get on the floor. And literally spent like, I don't know, about 25 to 30 minutes getting up off the floor, like doing a burpee. And I just physically like couldn't get myself off the floor. And I thought I was, in shape. I was a competitive cyclist and I had spent about a year and a half doing that. And I don't know if you know flywheel, but I was really into flywheel. And I did that for a long time, and I kind of just got bored. So then about a couple months into it, I started realizing that I was like one of the only people with CP doing CrossFit. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, why aren't more people doing this? And it's really good for you. So I started documenting literally everything. Some friends might have thought it was super annoying, but it's kind of gotten me to where I am today, to where, 18,000 plus people follow me on a daily basis and look to me, especially in the adaptive community, for guidance on what to do. I pretty much get messages daily on people either telling me they have CP or their children have CP, and they have a direction now, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, when you say it's gotten you to where you've trained with the likes of, we've seen the videos and pictures of you running the track with Hinshaw and Rich Froning, and recently I know you guys were out in California doing some cool stuff with Ramwad for adaptive athletes. You and Stouty, as he's known, are the founders and owners of WheelWad.
Yeah, well, he's the founder and owner right now, and I'm kind of working my way into helping him partner with the business. But he created it in 2014, and I help him do all the marketing. So anything you see on pretty much social media is about 90% something that I'll post, or anything we put together. But Stouty does all of our programming, and I do all the marketing and outreach for athletes.
Very cool. And if you follow Steph, you've seen a lot of her more recent posts about food. I mean, we can dive down this rabbit hole of all you've accomplished and how awesome you are. But A, we've done it before. There's interviews of you and I. And B, if you Google Steph Hammerman, I'm sure you'll find all you need to know about her. So
that's how I found Ty, by the way, was because I knew that he could Google me. And so I was as honest as possible on my Tinder profile, because I knew if I lied, he could find out.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's the downfall of being a little, not that we're famous by any means, but
well known, I guess, or people know facts about us.
Yeah, in a small community.
I was 110% honest, because if he wanted to find something out, he could Google it.
Yeah, Roz doesn't know this, but before Roz, I went on a date with a girl, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen your videos," and I'm like, "Well, then what are we gonna talk about? What is there to talk about? Because all I talk about is food, so that didn't last very long." But anyway, what I wanted to really dive into is the fact that you're crushing it. I mean, you've documented your journey well, but for the last year, I think anyone that's dealt with cancer, whether on their own or with a family member or friend like I did, you see it. You see the ups and downs. There were plenty of downs. There were plenty of times we either text one another, or I saw what you were posting, and it's tough. It's tough when you're fit and you're happy and you're healthy and your body's just not doing what you want it to do. But
yeah. Go ahead. So I was going to say, I think the most ironic thing, first of all, was that I was being diagnosed pretty much while I was hanging out with the fittest man on earth, right? So people, saw these really cool videos, but what people don't see is that those videos were chopped up into pieces and put together because I actually couldn't finish the workout. So the final product that people saw a couple weeks ago was actually like chopped up and put together because I was barely functioning those days. And that was about April 26th of last year. So, I, at that time, pretty much knew where I was headed. But on that other side of things, fitness is what saved my life. I went through 29 weeks of chemo, and I was cancer-free in 7 weeks. So I had to still go through the remainder of the chemo just to make sure everything was gone. But I was actually cancer-free in 7 weeks. And then the doctor said to me, she's like, "I've never seen anything like you in my life." But I remember it was 10 days out. They had told me I was not allowed to lift anything heavy because of the port they had to put in my body. On day 11, I went into the doctor's office and I showed her a video of me doing a clean. And I said, "I know you don't know what this is, but I need to know if I can do it." She looked at the video and she goes, "You can do that, but I don't know why you'd want to," and just laughed. And I said, "Well, this is my life. This is what keeps me wanting to go." And then the other part of things was nutrition. And I remember texting you probably about like 6 weeks into it. And I thought I was going to be golden, right? Like I thought I was going to be able to maintain what I was maintaining. But at the same time, I was 119 pounds when I started chemo, which wasn't normal for me. My normal was about 137 lean, like good muscle and lean. I went from 137 to 119 in about a week and a half. And it was like crazy weight. And I was eating everything and I couldn't gain any weight. But that was because my body was eating itself, right? It was the cancer was infested. But then about like 6 weeks into chemo, I started gaining like serious weight. And it got really depressing, right? Because my body was what I created over the last 4 years. That's what I wanted, and I had no control over it anymore. When I left chemo, or when I left the whole cancer situation, I was 165 pounds. And that was the heaviest I have ever been and will ever be in my entire life. I will never, ever, ever be that big again. And to some people, I understand that 165 doesn't sound
Wait,
like
let me interrupt. Let me interrupt for 1 second. I know you. I know Ty. I know at some point we're gonna see babies.
No, you, no. Stop talking about babies.
We're gonna see the Hammer babies come. So
I told you my hips got wider, and you're like, "Yep, time for babies."
Well, I know Ty. I know you better. You gotta keep that guy. He's a good guy.
Oh goodness, but yeah, so I needed to get myself back in check, and I knew that you and I had a great relationship, and I knew what you were doing was, it wasn't magic. It's not a magic pill. It's not, but it's worth it, right? The weighing and measuring, I've tried it before. We've done it a couple times, and I was successful here and there, but it was really stressful. And I think I was just stressing myself out with math and numbers, and I don't know. I think this time I'm just really driven to just put my body back where I want it to be.
Yeah, you throughout this, towards the end, I think we've all kind of been there. Whether it's like, hey, we're on vacation for so long that it's like, to lead into that, it'd probably be like, I just can't wait to get home and be back in my own kitchen eating my own food.
Oh, 100%. And Ty knows this too. Like, he has told me from day one when we met, he's like, hanging out with me, you're gonna put on weight. And just, and we joke about it. And he's very, very supportive of what I do with my food. But in the beginning, it was hard. I would want to go weigh stuff, and he'd be like, oh, all this weighing and measuring, it's just stressful. And he thinks it's real stressful, where sometimes it can be a little tedious and annoying. But, I think in the last couple of weeks, we found that we can have dinner together, but we don't always have to eat the same thing.
Yeah. That's a great.
And I think
Roz and I do that nightly. I'll eat pizza while she's eating veggies and chicken.
So I think that was the big switch for us, to where eating together is important, right? Like we find that to be a good time for us to just hang out, but we don't have to eat the same thing.
Absolutely.
And he's been trying, like we were talking about seafood, right? I told you I really can't do seafood. Well, he wanted to try to get me to eat salmon the other night, and so he made it in a really nice way. He can cook pretty well, and I just can't do it. I got really sick. I can't do it, but that's all right. Not my thing.
Well, let's talk about it, because you are killing it, and I love it because you were a great example of someone who you struggled a little bit when we first got you started. It was pre-cancer, and you kind of were just like, it was probably right around when you were getting diagnosed, and it was a struggle for you, the numbers, etc. Flash forward a year later, maybe it's the way Roz and I repackaged it. Maybe it's hearing it from Roz, because she's got that British accent and sounds a little smarter than me. But you've definitely turned it around. I know you've seen some of our stuff now. You have one of our meal plans, and you've been absolutely killing it. You were up at your heaviest at 165, and I think it was yesterday you texted me and you said you were at 151.
151. So and I started I started doing the serious on your eating at 162. So around the same, pretty much the same.
And that's just over. We had a phone call maybe
It's 3 weeks
3 weeks.
ago.
Wow. Wow. So really,
So,
I mean, let's attribute some of that to, your weight was at your highest due to chemo, etc. But still, I mean,
yeah.
feeling
But at
great.
the same time, also, like, I also work out a lot. Like, so I think CrossFitters are just mentally insane. And so, if you tell me, hey, try this workout, I'm going to be like, that looks cool, and I'm going to do it. And I think I had a conversation with Stouty about 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago, when that's why I called you, where he basically was one of my best friends and is one of my best friends. And he said, listen, get your head out of your ass and start taking care of yourself.
And
Because
Stout
I
was
was
doing.
going through serious depression.
Well, yeah, and I mean, obviously, dealing with cancer, it's hard. If you've never done it, it's hard to relate, I'm sure. But seeing your body, something that you've taken such good care of, and and it's a struggle.
Yeah.
I know I get depressed when I feel like I'm a pound or two heavier. Can't imagine being.
Yeah. It wasn't as much the weight as it was two things. My hair,
Mhm.
like that was bad. And like to me, it was I didn't have a choice, right? So if I had made the choice to cut my hair, I couldn't complain. But like watching your hair fall out, and then luckily I didn't go completely bald, but like I think I would have felt a little bit better maybe if I did, because I had like patches of bald. So I think that was the hardest part. And then two, just not being able to do what you normally do. I remember when I tried to deadlift something and I couldn't even deadlift like 20 pounds. And I was like, what happened? My deadlift used to be 115. So
Well,
I think those were the hardest
the good
parts.
news is you're on your journey back. You're already well on your way to being back where you started. Your hair is
Yeah.
growing back. Fitness will come back, and I think now at least you have this game plan and
Yeah.
this, support group and the tribe and Roz and I. You have your meal plan. You know, Let me ask you a couple questions about what we've done. How has the meal plan been for you? What are some
Sure.
things you would say about it if someone, was curious and interested in purchasing one?
So I think first of all they're really helpful because it helps you kind of have a guide. You don't have to follow it perfectly, and I'm a perfect example because I can't follow it perfectly. I have severe allergies to nuts, coconut, and I really, really like have a dislike for fish to the point that I get like sick. So I find good substitutes for things. I've found like yesterday I was trying to follow your meal plan, exact, and there were just some things I couldn't, but I ended up hitting triple zeros anyway yesterday by
Yeah.
just finding the balance between, things that are comparable to one another. And you don't have to do quote unquote paleo, or you don't have to do quote unquote zone, like they teach in level ones, or like you're used to teaching at the different seminars. But I think it's important, and to know that you and Roz are working so hard to make sure that we have correct numbers, and we're doing things the correct way, I think also gives people a peace of mind. So
Absolutely. And, for those that are interested, I know you posted your 000 picture yesterday. You post a lot of your meals that are either coming from our meal plan or you're doing some substitutions. And I think, that was a great lesson because you reached out and you're like, hey, I can't eat, I'm allergic to nuts. I don't like fish. And I'm like, a lot of these foods you can just sub out. And as you do that, you have this template and a guideline, and you start to
yeah.
learn, okay, well, when there's, cashews or almonds involved and I can't eat that, these are good substitutes.
Yeah. It's like when I go to any restaurant, right? If I really wanted, let's say I went to this pho restaurant the other night and I really wanted this pho soup. Well, little did I know, I'm also allergic to carrots, and little did I know they put carrots in their soup broth. So I was eating the soup and I'm like, man, I can't breathe. Like, what's going on? And then Ty would explain to me that sometimes they have carrots in it, and I'm like, well, gotta make my own, So if we want to do certain things, we have to kind of figure them out ahead of time. I would say I did see someone's picture of like a menu that a restaurant had that was like a macro friendly
Yeah.
menu, And I really wish that more places would do that, just because I think it's hard to eat out.
Absolutely.
That's where I find it a little bit stressful.
It's definitely a little more challenging to eat out. And I think long term, obviously, you can go to any chain restaurant and see their macronutrient breakdown online or even on their menu.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you see more and more of these privately owned restaurants do it, I think it'll be a lot easier to eat out.
Yeah.
So you're doing great. You're well on your way. You're absolutely crushing it with Own Your Eating. And what are your next goals with us, and what are you looking to accomplish?
My next goals are just to honestly stay on track. I think that's a huge goal. That's a continuous goal, is to stay on track. But I'm like finally seeing my muscles again. And like Ty said to me the other night, your back muscles are coming back. And like to me, that's fun. That's important, and that's what keeps me wanting to do it. And
I
I
could
do.
definitely see an improvement since last time we spoke. You could definitely see it.
Yeah, I think my traps are coming back, but I think that's the perks of walking with crutches all the time.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think just getting more and more people, especially in wheel wad, especially wheelchair users that are sitting most of the time, their nutrition is important as well. And I think that's going to be a huge goal for me, is when we partner up as ambassadors and stuff. I think that's going to be a huge goal, is to get more of the adaptive community involved in nutrition.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't want to say it's more or less important if you're in a wheelchair or not. I think.
Oh, 100%. You can't. I'll say it. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I remember I was at the games a couple of years ago, and Kelly Starrett was doing some seminar, and he used me as an example. And he said, people that sit down all the time, and I don't know what he was referring to something. And he said, you have a shorter lifespan because of the way you breathe. And I was like, what? And it was his point of getting out of our chair, right? Like it was like that wake up call. If you sit sedentary, whether you're in a chair or you're going on that road of my 600-pound life, it doesn't matter. You're cutting your life short by being inactive. So I think that's the most important. Whereas there may be people that can't walk, but we're making sure they get out of their chair, that they start crawling, that they start moving, that they start using dumbbells and things like that. So I think it's really important, and that's going to be one of my next biggest goals, is to learn as much as I can from you guys, so that we
will pass it on, and I love it. So check out Steph. What's your Instagram?
Steph the Hammer.
At Steph the Hammer, all the time posting, videos of her working out, in her chair. So when you're kind of demotivated, as we get sometimes, and you're like, oh, there's Steph just working out with her wheelchair. Like, what's my excuse? As well as I love all the pictures you're posting. You're tagging us. It's always great to see that. I think one of your next goals before we talk again is to clean that room that you're sitting in.
Oh, so you could talk to my man. This is his room.
Clean the man cave, and I want you to go give Ty a big hug and kiss for me. I love that guy.
I will.
I hope he's doing well, and we will continue to have you share your journey with us. Check out also WheelWad.
Yeah, wheelwad.com. Daily workouts for you guys. Instagram, WheelWad. We have a workout up every single day. We also put a lot of content up about other athletes in chairs doing their thing. So make sure to follow that.
If you are, what's the term? In a chair?
Yeah, if you use a chair, wheelchair user, we call them wheelies.
If you are a wheelie, as Steph is proving, owning your eating, as she said, is just as, if not more important for you guys. So
100%.
Reach out to us, and we're going to do a lot more with you guys, and hopefully start spreading the word to all the wheelies out there.
Sounds good.
All right, Steph, you have a great day. I know you have a busy day of coaching and working out. And like I said, give Ty a hug, and we will chat soon.
I will.
All right. Take care, Steph.
Okay.
All right. We are